I do not know how the Denver Broncos got this lucky. Not only did they hire one of the best X's and O's coaches in football, they also have the most elite culture builder of any NFL coach in the entire league, and that is a cold hard fact. And in this video, we're going to break down how Sean Payton has developed an incredible culture at every stop along the way, and why that culture allows him to get more out of his players than the players should do just from an X's and O's standpoint. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben, and it helps me in the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you like the Broncos. If you would like and subscribe. We've all heard the quote that culture eats strategy for breakfast. We know that a team is more than just the sum of its parts or its Madden scores, and that 53 guys who are all playing for each other are way better than 53 individuals all chasing their own accolades. But the question becomes, how do you build an elite culture? And Sean Payton knows how to do it, and we are seeing the fruition even just this weekend. I love the definition of how do you define culture? You can't really nail it down, but it's truly an accumulation of a million small things, and Sean Payton has all of those small things stacked up, starting with the fact that we drafted the most team captains of any team in the NFL this season. You just look, Jahdae Barron, RJ Harvey, Pat Bryant, all team captains. Sean Payton wants leaders and guys who know how to lead men and guys who gel in the framework of a team. And you're seeing the results of that this offseason, Pat Surtain isn't partying in Cancun or releasing rap albums. Pat Surtain's actually leading a youth camp to teach young kids how to be cornerbacks, and he's not doing it by himself. He's got a bunch of friends who are volunteering their own time to go and help basically chaperone and help coach that camp. And I just think of how direct opposition that stands to what happened with the Raiders starting quarterback, Geno Smith. He also had agreed to one of his friends, one of his teammates, yeah, I'll come help you with your camp in the summer. So his teammate bought him a $1,200 plane ticket and got his hotel room, and Geno Smith completely ghosted him. And when he confronted Geno about it, Geno didn't apologize. He just said, okay, I'll split the cost of my hotel and my flight with you. And he never paid him back. And so his teammate got really upset and punched him in the face. He broke his jaw, and he had to have his jaw wired shut, and he missed 6 games. And I just think that is truly the example there of what Sean Payton has built, that you got guys voluntarily going and working at Patrick Surtain's summer camp. You see half of the rest of the Denver Broncos flew out to New York, it was 108 degrees in New York. Who wants to go there right now? And you got Jarrett Stidham and Bo Nix both supporting their former teammate from the Denver Broncos and standing up and being there for his wedding. And so Sean Payton is an elite builder of culture there, and you see the results of it. He gets more out of his team than they should get when you just look at their scores on paper. I love just the evidence of that is how many guys has he coached over time who follow him wherever he goes. The list, I stopped counting at 17 that you're looking here. We got Joe Lombardi back. We got Mike Westhoff, Zach Strief, Chris Banjo, Pete Carmichael, Todd Davidson now. Obviously, new Rizzy here. We're also talking tons of former players. Lil Jordan Humphreys played for him. We know Michael Burton, Adam Troutman. The list goes on and on. But Sean Payton engenders this level of love and support for him, and guys want to run through walls for him. We talked yesterday. Zach Strief said he had a great job as a color commentator on the radio and said, as soon as Sean Payton called, I packed up my family and moved because Sean Payton is my guy. And so the question becomes how do you start to build those things? How did that even start? And I love reading. I got a subscription to NOLA.com, their version of the Denver Post, because I've just been reading so many articles about Sean Payton, what he did with the Saints, and how that's going to map out to what he's doing now. One of the things that I love that he did was he got in the best shape of his life. I guess he got super yoked a couple years ago. Not so yoked now, but I bet he'll get back to it, right? Maybe he'll hop on that, what's that, Metformin or something, but he doesn't need to. He looks great. So he did this thing when he was in New Orleans where he chose a couple team captains, let them draft players to do a CrossFit challenge where some of the things required brute force, a power clean, and then some of them were pull-ups, so you needed a wide receiver type build. Some of them were endurance things, so you wanted a skinny special team or something like that. And all of his players unanimously said it was the hardest workout of their life, but they absolutely loved it. Here's one of his players saying, it was a challenge, but it brought us together. There were times where we had to compete as a team, and he said, this is what brought us together. And there are so many examples of Sean Payton doing those types of things. Loved this amazing article here, and this just goes into all of these when we talk about culture is an accumulation of a million small things. This article details all of those small things that he did, and we've seen those here, that he's repeated a lot of those in Denver. One of the small things, there was a player on the New Orleans Saints whose brother tragically was killed in a car accident, and the day before a home game in New Orleans, Sean Payton and a couple assistant coaches and several players on the team made it a point to fly out and be at this player's brother's funeral. And he said this article talked about how emotional that was. And you hear Armstead come out and say, "That's my guy. I love that guy." That is just not the picture that was painted for us by the national media of Bountygate Sean Payton. Like, this is so... this is one of those things where you're like, oh, we got Sean Payton. He won a Super Bowl. I'm excited, but he did Bountygate. And then the more you read, you're like, dude, we just hit the absolute jackpot with this, that this is a very, very unique thing and does not exist across the NFL. Just go on Twitter for 5 seconds and see, you do not see this type of unity across teams. And this article just details that to the nth degree. Right. This is supposed to be an unbiased account of Sean Payton. And you're seeing this journalist say, Sean Payton, they cherish the memories they shared with Payton, the memories they had because of him, that he is enthusiastic, brutally honest, compassionate, ridiculous, motivational, competitive, brilliant. He's all of those. He is the most genuine culture builder you will ever find. And he really is one of a kind. And I don't think any of us knew this was who we were getting when we got Sean Payton. And I absolutely love it. Coming in here and just seeing he's an incredible, engaging storyteller. There were a couple players who said, I wish we just turned a tape recorder on during his meetings because he told such incredible stories. Again, you see all these Hard Knocks videos where you see players can't wait to piece out of those meeting rooms. And here you have players wishing they recorded the stories so they could hear them again later. See Sean Payton bending rules and doing things to help support his teammate. This was a story about during COVID. One of his teammates or one of his players had a child who was diagnosed with cancer, and you weren't supposed to be able to travel during the lockdowns and still qualify to play. Sean Payton petitioned the commissioner for him to get out of that policy and said, whatever you need, we will make this work. Sean Payton lays it on the line for his players, and that's why they lay it on the line for him. We saw that when journalists were asking about Devon Vele again, and Sean Payton kind of bit their head off. That's the Sean Payton we picture, right? Like a mean guy, but you see how many players just talk about, I love Sean Payton. I want to play for Sean Payton. And then I love this here. At the end of the day, this is going to end up making Denver even bigger of a talent magnet than it already is. We saw this offseason. We stole guys that the San Francisco 49ers wanted, and we thought, oh, that's because of Bo Nix. More and more we're seeing that's because of Bo Nix and Sean Payton in tandem. Luke McCown was the backup quarterback there for the New Orleans Saints. He had several teams approach him and about, hey, do you want to come play for us instead? We'll pay you more than the New Orleans Saints. And he said, resounding no. I had years and years of my life where the joy was sucked out of the game for me. And being around Sean put the love of the game, put the fun of the game back into me. And this is what this is all about here with Denver. And while we didn't know about it because we weren't in on those interviews, what is really, really cool is that this is something that is not a surprise whatsoever to the smartest and richest owner in sports, because this is the research that he did. He came out, so the Walton Penner ownership group was talking about, hey, I found all of these details that made Sean Payton successful. And he said, I found that he is maniacal with the details. He talked about Sean Payton researched the size of the flags that the New Orleans Saints were going to be waving, the fans were going to be waving at games, and said, oh, they need to be bigger. What coach concerns himself about the size of a towel that a fan is waving at the game? And Sean Payton said, if we're maniacal with the details on the field, we have to be that with every other element in the training room, the weight room, how we approach ticket sales. Everything matters. You can't just say, oh, that's the only thing important. Everything matters. How we travel, how we celebrate in the locker room. Obviously, we know Sean Payton dropped a ton of money on a sound system and a fog machine and black lights and strobe lights so that he could have club dubs, so that every time we have a road game and we win, every other team across the NFL has to hear our young and hungry team that is a band of brothers celebrating together, because it is truly a magnet to be like, man, I wish I was a part of a culture like that. We all want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves, right? And Sean Payton has done amazing work here with the Denver Broncos in building that type of culture. I cannot wait to see how that manifests now that, okay, he got the culture part, but he was working with some broken, busted pieces. Well, now he's got the talent part, and you meld the talent and the culture together, and watch out, because it's going to be the Denver Broncos playing in late January and February. Clear your calendars, and that's something we can all believe in.